Look at your hands right now. Not a glance. Really look. Do you see the translucency? The raised veins pressing against paper-thin skin. The crepe-like texture that no amount of lotion seems to fix. Here is the truth that the skincare industry does not want you to hear. Your hands are aging 3 times faster than your face. And every single product you've been using is scientifically designed to fail you. But in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you a 2-ingredient combination so precise, so biologically targeted, that women in their 60s and 70s are seeing visible restoration in under 24 hours. I'm Dr. Adrian Cole, and on this channel, Dr. Adrian Cole's Senior Health, we don't chase trends. We follow the science. So stay with me because what I'm about to reveal will permanently change how you think about aging skin. Let's start with the biology, because understanding the problem is the only path to solving it permanently. Your face benefits from something your hands fundamentally lack: a naturally thicker sebaceous layer. Your face has oil glands distributed across nearly every centimeter of skin. Your hands, almost none on the back, where the aging is most visible. This means the lipid barrier, that critical protective shield responsible for locking in moisture, blocking environmental toxins, and maintaining structural integrity, is already thinner on your hands before aging even begins to accelerate the process. Now add decades of daily exposure. Sunlight degrades collagen fibers at the cellular level. Dishwater strips away whatever natural oils remain. Cold air in winter and dry indoor heating in summer both aggressively pull moisture from a barrier that is already compromised. And every time you wash your hands, something you are supposed to do for your health, you are removing another layer of the protective film your skin desperately needs to maintain elasticity. This is why, by our 50s and 60s, the dorsal skin of our hands begins showing what dermatologists call dermal thinning cascade, a progression where collagen depletion, elastin fiber breakdown, and epidermal shrinkage happen simultaneously. The visible results are unmistakable. Translucent skin through which veins and tendons are clearly visible. Fine, crepey lines that multiply across the knuckles, and a loss of the plump, cushioned appearance that young hands naturally hold. Now here is where commercial moisturizers completely fail you. The majority of store-bought hand creams are water-based formulations. They feel good for 20 minutes. They create the sensation of hydration, but water evaporates. Wheaten and ore. The moisture is gone, and because the lotion contained no true barrier repair components, your skin is back to baseline, or worse. Slightly more stripped than before due to the preservatives and alcohols included to stabilize the formula. What aging hands require is not surface hydration. What they require is a lipid-rich, molecularly compatible delivery system that can penetrate the compromised barrier and begin structural repair at the dermal level. And that is precisely what we are building in this video. So now that you understand exactly why your hands are losing the battle against time, let me introduce you to the first weapon in this 2-ingredient formula. And I need you to pay close attention here, because most people who use castor oil are using it completely wrong, on the wrong body part, in the wrong way, and missing its most extraordinary capability entirely. Castor oil has been used medicinally for over 4,000 years. But modern dermatological science has finally given us the molecular language to explain why it works so profoundly on aging skin. The active compound responsible for everything is called ricinoleic acid, and it comprises approximately 90% of castor oil's total fatty acid profile. This is an unusually high concentration of a single fatty acid, and that concentration is exactly what makes castor oil unlike any other plant-based oil available. Ricinoleic acid is a hydroxyl fatty acid, meaning it carries an extra oxygen-hydrogen group that standard fatty acids like those in coconut or jojoba oil do not possess. This structural difference gives ricinoleic acid a critical biological advantage. It is a natural humectant at the molecular level, rather than simply sitting on the skin's surface and creating a seal, the way petroleum jelly or mineral oil functions. Ricinoleic acid actively draws moisture from the deeper dermal layers upward, while simultaneously preventing transepidermal water loss from the surface. It is working in both directions at once. For aging hands specifically, this dual-directional action is transformative. The thinning dermis, which has lost much of its natural water-binding capacity due to declining hyaluronic acid production, is suddenly receiving moisture traffic it hasn't experienced in years. But here is where it gets even more significant. Peer-reviewed research has demonstrated that ricinoleic acid interacts with EP3 prostanoid receptors in the skin, triggering a localized anti-inflammatory response and critically stimulating fibroblast activity. Fibroblasts are the cells responsible for collagen and elastin synthesis. When fibroblast activity increases, the skin begins rebuilding its structural scaffolding from within. This is not hydration. This is actual tissue repair. 4. Translucent, crepey, hand skin. This means something remarkable. Consistent application of ricinoleic acid can gradually restore the dermal thickness that UV exposure and chronological aging have degraded. The skin begins to look less transparent. The texture firms. The fine surface lines reduce in depth because the underlying structure supporting them is rebuilding. Additionally, castor oil's molecular weight and viscosity allow it to function as what pharmacologists call a penetration enhancer, meaning it does not simply absorb itself, it carries other active compounds with it through the skin barrier. This is the biological foundation for why combining castor oil with a second ingredient does not just add benefits, it multiplies them exponentially. And that second ingredient is the one that completes this formula entirely. Ricinoleic acid opens the door. It rebuilds the structure, but without addressing the second major driver of visible hand: aging, oxidative cellular damage. You are solving only half of the equation. And this is where vitamin E transforms a good remedy into what I would confidently call the most effective atom hand restoration protocol supported by current dermatological science. Vitamin E, specifically in its liquid tocopherol form, which you can access by puncturing a standard vitamine capsule, is one of the most extensively studied antioxidants in skin biology. Its primary function is neutralizing free radicals, the unstable oxygen molecules generated by UV radiation, pollution, blue light exposure, and normal metabolic processes that over time oxidize and degrade collagen fibers, break down cell membranes, and produce the hyperpigmentation clusters we commonly call liver spots or age spots. On aging hands, oxidative damage is relentless and cumulative. Every year of sun exposure without adequate antioxidant defense adds another layer of invisible cellular destruction that eventually manifests on the surface as discoloration, loss of volume, and deteriorating texture. Commercial creams contain trace amounts of vitamin E, just enough to list it on the label, nowhere near enough to produce meaningful biological impact. Liquid vitamin E from capsules delivers a concentrated dose, and when combined with castor oil, something clinically significant happens. Ricinoleic acid acts as a transdermal carrier, pulling vitamin E through the compromised lipid barrier and into the living dermal layer, where oxidative damage is actively occurring. The antioxidant reaches its target. This is the synergy that makes this combination categorically different from anything available in a standard moisturizer. Beyond antioxidant neutralization, vitamin E plays a direct role in membrane stabilization and accelerated wound healing. The skin's protective mantle, its natural acid barrier, is constantly damaged by environmental aggressors. Vitamin E assists in the structural repair of cellular membranes, restoring barrier function more rapidly than the skin can achieve alone. For hands that are already operating with a depleted lipid barrier, this acceleration is critical. The combination also produces a barrier-mimicking effect. Human skin's natural lipid barrier is composed of ceramides, fatty acids, and cholesterol. Castor oil's fatty acid profile approximates several of these components, while vitamin E's tocopherols reinforce the structural stability of the reconstituted barrier. The result is a temporary but functionally effective artificial lipid barrier that allows the skin underneath the repair itself, protected from further transepidermal water loss. Now for the precise application method. Unit a 3:1 ratio, 3 parts, castor oil 1 part. Liquid vitamin E. Combine these in a small glass container. Before applying, warm the mixture between your palms for 30 seconds. This thermal activation reduces viscosity and increases transdermal penetration speed significantly. Apply to the back of hands and work the mixture in using firm circular motions across the knuckles and outward toward the fingers for 2 full minutes per hand. This mechanical action stimulates microcirculation, which further accelerates nutrient delivery to the dermis. Apply immediately before sleep, overnight, with no water exposure or environmental aggressors, disrupting the process. Your skin enters its peak cellular repair cycle with this concentrated formula actively present in the dermal layer. The overnight application is where the immediate visible results begin, but what I want to give you now is the complete picture. What to expect across the first 7 days, how to build this into a sustainable ritual, and most importantly, why this 2-ingredient protocol will outperform anything the commercial skincare market offers you at 10 times the price. Let's talk about realistic, science-based milestones, because setting accurate expectations is the foundation of any protocol that people actually maintain. Within 24 to 48 hours. Most users report a measurable reduction in surface dryness and the rough texture associated with compromised barrier function. The initial plumping effect from ricinoleic acid's humectant activity becomes visible. Skin appears slightly more filled in, and the crepey microtexture on the knuckles softens noticeably. This is not placebo. This is the barrier repair response beginning by day 3 to 4. Skin translucency begins to reduce The underlying structural response, increased fibroblast activity from repeated ricinoleic acid exposure, begins producing early collagen synthesis signals. The skin's surface takes on a more uniform, less papery appearance. Hyperpigmented areas from oxidative damage begin to show the first signs of lightening as vitamin E neutralizes the oxidative cycle, maintaining their discoloration. By day 7, users with consistent nightly application consistently report that they have stopped reaching for commercial hand cream during the day. The barrier restoration is functioning well enough that daytime dryness is dramatically reduced. The skin holds moisture independently, which is the true measure of barrier repair versus simple surface hydration. For long-term maintenance in 2026, where blue light from screens has become a significant but under-acknowledged driver of skin oxidative stress, this formula provides relevant protection. Vitamin E's antioxidant capacity extends to the neutralization of reactive oxygen species generated by high-energy visible light. The same spectrum emitted by smartphones, tablets, and computer screens you interact with 4 hours daily. A nightly application protocol creates a consistent antioxidant reserve in your skin. Protect your progress during the day with SPF on the backs of your hands. This single habit prevents UV-generated free radicals from dismantling the structural work your nightly protocol is building. Reapply after prolonged water exposure in colder months. Add a thin cotton glove over the formula for 20 minutes post-application to enhance occlusion and deepen penetration. I want to leave you with this. The beauty industry generates billions of dollars annually by selling you complexity, 12-step routines, proprietary peptide blends, luxury packaging for formulas that biologically cannot penetrate deep enough to do what they promise. What I've shown you today costs less than $5 per month. It is backed by molecular biology, receptor pharmacology, and decades of clinical antioxidant research, and it works on the exact biological mechanisms that are causing your hands to age. 2 ingredients, 1 nightly ritual, results that begin before you wake up tomorrow morning. Your hands have been waiting for you to stop settling for surface solutions and start demanding real science. Now, you have it. I'm Dr. Adrian Cole. If this gave you something real today, this channel exists to give you more of exactly this. Subscribe and hit like. That is how Dr. Adrian Cole's Senior Health reaches its goal of 1,000 subscribers. And every single view and like gets us closer. Share this with someone whose hands deserve better, and I will see you in the next one, where the science always comes first.